dizzy on that one.
Falling. It's a sensation that drives thrill seekers in countless adventures. The pursuit of that elusive moment of free fall, of weightlessness, of unadulterated adrenaline. Base jumpers are a breed who live to fall, to drop themselves from buildings, antennas, spans, and earth. Some may consider them the lunatic fringe. Others may admire them as passionate minimalists who get off on the freedom of human flight. It is that passion and a certain lunacy that recently drove a team of base jumpers to Baffin Island in the Arctic Circle, the home of fjords possessing an unreal concentration of the highest cliffs in the world. A base jumping paradise where the concept of falling would take on a whole new meaning.
It is known, I do believe, as the 5th largest island in the world, and basically this whole entire island is made up of mostly granite, snow, and ice. It's amazing, and it's just you know, lots of big, deep fjords in the island where the ocean creeps in and freezes, and it's an amazing place. And on Baffin Island, we're in Samford Fjord and camped right underneath the Polar Sun Spire, one of the biggest, most magnificent walls in the world. But from a climber's point of view, it's frozen heaven. And now I know from a base jumper's point of view, it's the same exact thing. It is truly magnificent, not just from a base jumper's point of view, but anyone, any human. It'll touch their heart. It'll make them realize, wow, I'm human and I'm alive, and this is reality. It's an awesome place. You know, being up here with all this snow and ice and rock, there are no trees, there are no houses, there are no cars, there's nothing to compare size to. There's nothing to contrast how big something is.
The scale is off, you know. You look at something and you go, wow, that's maybe 1,000 feet, and by the time you get up there, you're going through 2,500 feet, 3,000 feet, and you're just going, man, we're still going. You're looking at the altitude meter, and you're just, you know, we've jumped like 4,000 foot cliffs, and I mean, that's like 30 seconds of free fall. Nobody gets that.
I guess you could compare Baffin Island to Yosemite, but Yosemite would probably fit in, you know, 1/100th of this place.
So it's really interesting out here to be tricked by perspective. You don't have it, so you can't tell what is what, or how big something is, or how far something is. It's just a really, I guess you could call it a good slap in the face, just to make you realize how small we really are. It's a great place to have a lot of realizations about yourself and about life, and if anything, it creates them.
A combination of the X-Men and Little Rascals, the team was spearheaded by Shane McConkey, renowned free skier and class clown. His principal base partner, Miles Dasher, was along to bring life to an otherwise desolate landscape. They're joined by Lake Tahoe friends Mike Vail, a master tracker, and Charles Bryan, holder of a non-motorized human speed record, and noted Austrian Felix Baumgartner brought along his wingsuit. Big wall climber and Baffin veteran Mike Lebecki provided the expertise and sanity to allow the kids to get into and around their base playground. After 3 days of travel, the crew found themselves in Clyde River on Baffin, the final populated stop on their way to Oz. The Arctic cold and an ever-setting sun dominated the days and nights of the hardened local Inuit people. Anticipation dominated the days and nights of the jumpers. A 2-day, 80-mile journey by snowmobile and Comatic sled lay ahead.
I think it's really important to have someone like Mike Lebecki with this project. For one, because he's been here a bunch. Two, he's a very experienced big wall climber, and we're in the middle of nowhere and no option of going to a hospital, and logistically organizing a big expedition like this, he knows exactly how to do it all. So I think you know, he's the most important guy on this trip right now.
Oh yeah, Sam Fjord's never gonna know what hit it.
Today, you know, we finally got everything together on the sleds. You know, 50 bags of gear to get everyone out here, you know, food. It must have taken 5 hours to get everything together and load it up on the sleds today.
Can't forget the sweet cargo. And hopped in these things and took off.
We are ready for a most historical adventure across Baffin Island. Let us rock and roll on the expedition. Yip-yah! Yip-yah!
Did a little running at first up the hills, which was kind of cool because it sure warms you up. That's nice, but I jumped out and started running, and my sled took off without me. I totally got left behind. So if you're going to get out and run, you got to hold on to that sled, I think so you can keep your ride.
But we got underway. You know, there was warning of a blizzard, possibly 60 to 70 mile an hour winds. Fortunately, that did not happen. Only up to about 30 miles an hour, the winds got, pushing us into the minus degrees Fahrenheit. It's getting pretty late now, just pushing into the early evening, late night area, so it's going to start getting really cold. We're going to need to set up a little camp here in this hut that's built out here. Who knows how old it is, but it will suffice for a nice camp tonight. And get some water boiling, get warm. I know these guys are all cold here, so you know, it looks like it's going to be a successful first day.
Elevator express ride. Yip-yah!
Today is our second and hopefully last day to get ourselves out to the fjord where we're going to jump. We're going to head inland a little ways into the fjords, and we're going to start to see big walls today. Everyone's getting super fired up today because we can see one big wall right over there that all the locals are just like, oh, pff, that's nothing, you know, that's just a little mound, you know, and in the States it'd be a national park in Yosemite. And this has been a dream for all of us for a long time, and we're just now starting to see the walls in the distance and getting excited for sure.
Gotta love it, baby. Oh yeah. Sanford Fjord. Yeah, here we come.
The whole way in here, there was a lot of big cliffs, and they just kept getting bigger. And I'm thinking, how much bigger can they get, you know? I feel like a little kid in a candy store, and I get to just pick whatever I want and go, let's go there, let's go here, let's go there.
So as we're coming around the last few corners here, you can start to see the Polar Sun Spire, and I wasn't sure what it was, and all I could tell is something huge very far away, and it's like three-dimensional coming around. You know, it's kind of like staying in one place, and all the other little mountains, all these other little mountains are just kind of moving out of its way, and we came around this bend. Just can't believe just granite straight up into the sky. It's out of control. It's amazing that rocks can do these things.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Wow, we're in heaven. Truly amazing. Yeah, my neck hairs are standing up, palms are sweating.
We made a really awesome base camp right on the frozen ocean here. So we're all sleeping and living the entire time on an ocean that's frozen. It's about 5+ feet thick of ice, and so it's pretty cold camping here. We're camped right on the Sanford Fjord, and just at the junction of the Walker Arm, right underneath the Polar Sun Spire. The Walker Citadel is just down the way. Everywhere you look, there's just huge, massive walls everywhere, of course, that I'm looking at every day thinking about a new climbing route, and these guys are looking out and thinking, wow, we could jump off here, we could jump off there. And I mean, it's our front yard, it's our backyard for a month. I think it's the most magnificent place I've ever camped. It's breathtaking.
first cliff that we did was the peak. It's right over there. It's a 700-meter cliff.
Right behind our camp. We were guessing, we were looking at the beak, saying, oh, that's maybe 1,500 until the talus. And you start going up there, you're looking like, oh, we're passing through 2,000 feet.
We got up there and everyone's looking around, who's going first? And I kind of stepped up, I'll go. You know, a little hesitation in my voice and looking down, not knowing what to expect. It's a huge cliff, never been here before, and just making our first jump off of it that we've ever heard about. And Charles kind of cleared the air. He just stepped up and, I'll go. Yeah, this is good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. And just having a good time with it, you know, not concerned. You know, they know what they're doing. They have a really good idea. They've done this a bunch of times so that they know what to expect, and they have a really good idea of what's going on. So when they're doing these things, sure, it's the first time we've been to this place, and we're not exactly sure what to expect, but we have a really good idea that it's going to be clean. We've sussed it as best we can, and feel really confident. Feel really confident jumping with these guys. They're badass. Sorry.
I've never seen cliffs like this. It's like a big base jumping fun park.
Oh yeah, these walls, you have time to think about everything. You're kind of going, oh, my goggles tight enough? Or no, you can, what's that pack job like? Yeah, no, oh, look, dog sled team. And then, you know, you're 20 seconds into this delay, you got like 10 more, and you're just, yeah, oh, nice, oh, that's a cool crack on the wall, and, you know, you look back, oh, there's my shadow, oh, that's cool.
Before this trip, you know, I couldn't even imagine finding a 3,000-foot cliff somewhere. And now, we have our pick of cliffs that are 4,000 feet high, and it's just insane. It's like, it's almost a joke, you know, it's just unbelievable. I can't even believe it, we're jumping here.
These cliffs give us enough time to jump off, do barrel rolls, flips, flat spins, sit fly. Shane and Charles were sit flying, doing 360s. And yeah, you could do a variety of tricks. Basically, anything you could drum up, anything you could think of, you can do it as long as you're not backsliding towards the wall.
It's so beautiful here to just land at the bottom of these gigantic things and just kind of look back up at them and, you know, high-five your buddies and just can't believe it, you know? You don't have to run, you can just hang out and actually enjoy what you've just done.
I guess the next jump that we did was Walker Citadel.
I have to pee and I have to poo.
You always do.
You gotta yak, pee,
I don't know
poo,
why.
sweat.
It's not like I'm about to do something dangerous or anything.
I don't know. Maybe it's because where you are in life.
It was a 1,250-meter cliff, so double high as the peak. The exit point was not that easy because there was a lot of snow on top and there were corners, yeah, so that's always a dangerous thing. But it's a really high cliff. We did a nice, I think, 27-second delay. We all had fun on this jump, and that was the second thing that we did here, and it was successful.
Yeah! Yeah! Woo!
Most people think of base jumping as just falling, you know, you jump off a thing and then you fall and deploy a parachute, but you can fly. I mean, we're falling for the most part, but you can use your body to fly around and go whichever direction you want, go slow, go fast, and that's what flying is to me. You know, I had flying dreams when I was a little kid, you know, and I always wanted to fly. When you jump off these cliffs, you have so much time, you can go wherever you want, do whatever you want. And to use your body, not, you know, sitting in a plane controlling a machine, you're using just your body and your eyes and your brain just to fly whichever direction you want with total ease. It's the coolest feeling in the world.
Woo! You can do anything you want off of these cliffs. Anything!
How do we know when to pull the chute? I guess you just look at the ground, and when you start to get really scared, you pull.
Yeah, it's kind of tough out here when you have frozen ocean to tell when pull time is. When we're jumping, we're not counting in our heads or anything. It's all visual. You're looking around, you're seeing things, and you need visual references.
Normally you have trees and or whatever, field and stuff like that, but here it's just white. You know, it could be 1,000 feet, it could be 500. You can kind of tell. You can look around and see the rocks, but if you really track out far from the cliff, to have a snowmobile and a couple guys like, hey, what's up? It really helps.
Because when you get really low, you can see people's faces, you know, and that's point of reference. That's time to pull. You know, when you're mocking at the ground, you're doing 120, and that ground is 0 miles an hour coming at you. You want to make sure you pull before that point.
And we pull, a couple seconds later, the thing comes out, the parachute comes out, and basically have 5-10 seconds under canopy depending on how low you pull. I mean, it's not really a contest to see. You don't want to make it a contest to see who pulls the lowest. But it is kind of exciting to see people flying at you and flying at you. You're looking up and bam, at the last second, and they hook it in over you. We've had a few people pulling nice and low, but everything's been under control. There hasn't been any problems. And we have to try to keep it that way and try to keep it safe.
The third cliff that we did was Kaguri right over there, which was probably one of the coolest because it was so easy on top.
It barely has any talus. It's like this. You could jump off, you could fall off backwards as Shane did, just the Nestea plunge, just fall off backwards, and you wouldn't hit anything for 2,500, 2,800 feet.
Glory be. A lot of loose rock. Watch your step. Huge drop off ahead. Kaguri. I'm gonna jump my booty off Kaguri.
I just had a fjordasm.
It's a good one to play off of. You know, a lot of these guys, they're sit flying, like you're skydiving, you know, laying on your back, going off backwards, checking out the wall, doing whatever you want, flips, twists.
Kaguri's just, it's a beautiful peak. So beautiful that I decided to go naked off of it.
Y'all children don't ever do this in the Arctic or anywhere else.
Man, I can't believe that guy. We were just kidding. Miles was doing his 200th base jump, and Shane and I kind of convinced him that he'd be, you know, famous, and everybody'd be talking about the Arctic Circle naked base jump. 3, 2, 1, and he just full on did it.
It wasn't the warmest day. There's ice all around. There was about a 10-mile-an-hour wind. Not too hot conditions. The conditions weren't very warm. But I managed to jump off without anything falling off or freezing up. And yeah, it was a lot of fun jumping naked. Never done that before.
My turn. Later, guys.
Most of my free falls have been, you know, I'm flying, I track really far and flying out around, and I like to check out the wall, and you can look back between your legs and your shadow's going by, and it's so nice. It's amazing.
It's an unbelievable feeling to be able to jump off something 4,000 feet high fly around, make turns, roll over on your back, check everything out on your back for a while, bust some more turns, you know, hang out for a little while, wave to your friends, you know, check your gear if it's all right, and then maybe pull if you feel like it. It's just insane.
That cliff was perfect for my first wingsuit flight.
Okay guys, I'm out of here. The more you know, the less you fear.
The program on a wingsuit flight is to step off, go head down, pick up speed for about 4 or 5 seconds and then start flying out. You can make a lot of distance. You fly really slow, so you have more than 10 or 15 seconds extra air time, which is exactly what I want, never ending free fall. That was, from my angle, one of the coolest cliffs, because easy to go on top, easy to jump, and a lot of fun.
Yeah! I want a wingsuit!
Well, the wingsuit is a special skydiving suit. The first guy who developed that wingsuit was Patrick de Gallardon. His dream was to fly. That wing here on the wingsuit helps a lot, yeah, to come close to that dream. Here's a little hole, so the air comes in, create pressure, blowing up that wing. It gives a nice smooth surface, like a wing from an aeroplane. That let you fly. Same thing between your legs. You have that same hole. Air comes in, it's blowing up your wing, gives you a nice surface. Make it big, yeah. And that's giving you a lot of forward speed and a nice glide angle, far away from the cliff. While on a wingsuit, you have to have a lot of training until you figure out how the whole thing works, because every little move on your body creates a different thing. If you want to do a right turn, you just bring your right wing a little bit more in, and then it turns. If you bring it more in, it turns fast. If you just move a little bit, it turns slow. And the slow turn is always cool because you don't lose too much altitude. If you do a lot of spirals or barrel rolls, you're gonna lose a lot of altitude, which is bad on a wingsuit flight. Yeah. So if you aim for seconds, that's the way how it works on a wingsuit.
Well, this good weather that we've been having definitely had to come to an end like I knew it would. It was no good. There was rain started, and then it kind of warmed up, got cold, and then the wind started blowing. It took our kitchen tent, basically, and almost just tossed it, lifted up, people diving for stuff to grab it, to tie it down, and it was pretty intense.
It wasn't bad for a day or so, but then people started to go a little crazy, and luckily we were able to go hike the peak a couple times.
Here we are atop the mighty peak. This is the first peak we've jumped when we got here. And it's snowing right now. We're 2,100 feet up. We got these guys getting ready to hook off of that. Let's see how they do.
Yeah. Nice. Been doing some hikes, and people been cross-country skiing and snowshoeing, and looking at the iceberg, or the whatever that is.
It lasted for, several days. Kind of put a dampening on some of the attitudes around here as far as not being able to jump.
This will be good for base jumping, like maybe never.
I know probably climbers are used to sitting in the weather for a week at a time and stuff like that, but we're base jumpers.
Give me back my son. I want to go do some more 30-second delays off the big old rocks.
Yesterday, we went on a dog sled ride.
which is pretty cool.
The dog sled ride was pretty fun, a little slower than the snowmobiles, but much less jarring on your body, that's for sure.
I kind of did feel bad for them, you know, making them pull us around. But they did a really good job, and they started making it look easy, too. It was kind of sketchy a couple of times, like when we crossed the ice, where it would break, and there was holes, you know, like 2 feet apart.
You look down, and there's like 6 feet of ice, and then ocean underneath you. And there's a snowmobile in the crack, and there's a dog trying to get out of the crack, swimming around, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? It's a trip. Things can change up here real fast. I mean, we came in here, and there was like 4 feet of snow on top of the ice. It just looked like, you know, a snow field. And then we had some weather for a few days, and then all of a sudden, it was just like scoured. Blue ice everywhere with cracks opening up. You're like, crazy. I'm not in Kansas anymore.
Base camp here, we're not right in front of the Polar Sun Spire, you know, we're on the east face, and there's a good 2,000-foot wall up there, and then we've just been looking at it, like, let's jump that, let's come down to camp, let's jump that. So we go up there, and we know we can't jump the front side, but this one looks pretty good.
Oh my God, look where we are. We're higher than
Just about every peak. That one's higher.
We get up there, and we're all excited, you know, hands in the air, high-fiving, and we're starting to look around, and compared to, like, maybe back in the States, that would be an acceptable jump, maybe, but here, it was just not so good.
You're on belay. If you need slack, I'll give you rope. Tension is keep the rope.
I was dropping down a lot of stones to see how overhung it is, but I think after 3 or 4 seconds, the rock hit the wall, which is a really nasty sign, because that means you can't clear the edge, and that's really nasty for a base jump, because you need 4 or 5 seconds until you start flying.
Well, the rock's kind of simulating, you know, a jump. You know, we try to get kind of a heavy rock, and you know, sometimes you can't just dangle over the edge. I mean, on this trip we have harnesses and ropes, and we have that luxury. But usually you can just get a pretty good feeling for just tossing a rock a couple feet out, kind of like you jump, and listen.
Say when it hits.
That was the worst spot from all these different points that we were checking out. So now we go right over there to the diving board, scuba out that place, see what we get there. Might be tricky, jump from the Polar Sun Spire. Never spent so much time checking out cliffs, but that's the way how it works. So we're gonna find the point.
This was really great to see. They looked over and they tested the grounds and they threw some rocks off and they inspected it, and immediately they were just like, forget it, we're not doing it. I think they even could have done it. They said they could have done it and gotten away with it, but they decided that it's just not worth it.
Just getting sketched, palms are sweating, you know, I'm like, I don't think so, no way. But then there was a part of me inside that was just wanted to just run off of it and go, right now.
No, I was sitting there and I said the same thing. I'm like, I could just stand up and go.
And had to hold that back, you know. You want to do it. It looks good. And it's a beautiful rock, you know. The Polar Sun Spire. Gotta jump it. But when you're in that situation and it's not, you know, you have any doubt at all whatsoever, just forget about it and bag it, you know, live to jump another day.
So now we're going to go over there to the fin. The fin looks good. Mike says he's been up there, he's climbed it. We're going to hit it. That's beautiful.
We're the men of Baffin Island, you heard so much about. The women hide their daughters whenever we go out. We fight with guns, nice 45s, and broken bottles too. We're the men of the Baffin Island crew. Who the hell are you?
It was really windy up there. Yeah, 30-mile-an-hour winds, gusts, and it was coming over the back. You know, it's a 3,000 footer, so we can get away from that wall.
And what wind tends to do that I know comes over the top of anything that's like hung like this, and it's gonna rotor in like this. But we're gonna take some speed off this exit point so that we try to get out of that rotor. When we spit and kick rocks off down here, they kind of tend to drift towards the right. So we're probably gonna start sliding out this way. We're gonna start tracking straight out. We'll probably crab to the right while we track. And we're gonna run like Carl Lewis off this bad boy. Oh my God! Yeah!
Some of the factors that make a good base jump? Well, nice and huge. That's why we're here in Baffin. And the more overhung it is in general, the safer it is. But everything here is so big that it almost doesn't even matter. Just stunning features. Big diving boards to jump off of. Doing stuff with other people in the air is fun too. Like multiple way jumps. 2 ways and 3 ways. The more time you get to spend in the air, the funner it is.
I base jump because it's one of those things that it's kind of.
Oh man, my knees are trembling, man. I feel good.
It's a new sport, and we're basically figuring it out as we go along. And you can learn from other people, but most of the time you're learning things that no one else has learned. And you're going, whoa, have you guys ever thought about this? Because this happened to me. And then our friends are going, whoa, that's never happened to me. And it's kind of like pioneering a new sport. But more so, I like base jumping because it's like a real sense of freedom from the earth. It's like, I'm gonna jump off of this rock or this bridge or wherever the object may be, and I'm gonna fly. You know, I'm gonna use my body to fly forward, to spin, and it's a huge sense of freedom that you feel. It's like human flight, and you know, you don't really fly, humans don't really fly that far, so you need big cliffs to fly, you know, to track away from them. And yeah, base jumping to me is like the ultimate freedom, where you get to just launch off into the air and just start flying. And there's a lot of risks with the sport, and what we do is we just learn. We go to like little seminars, people packing seminars, and I pack more intricately than pretty much all of my friends. You know, my mentor Frank and Bali, he taught me building pack job. It's in case you're jumping off a building and you're going to be really close to the wall when you open, it's got to open on heading. A lot of times you get really scared on objects. You just got to remember to breathe, control your fear, and if you get too scared, then back off. But it's always fun to get a little scared, or something really fun about being scared, and I like that.
Living the dream, falling. Some people scream, but we be yes, yawning. Living the dream, falling. But can you see my destiny calling?
Woohoo! Yeah.
The next cliff that we did was Ottawa Peak.
I saw Ottawa Peak right when we got here, and we don't know if anybody's jumped off Ottawa Peak or not. Maybe they have. It seems like it's a fairly easy hike up around the glacier in the back, so it probably has been done. But again, we were thinking, oh, we're eyeballing this thing, going, oh, it's maybe 3,000 feet or so. We get up there, it's 4,100 feet, and we weren't even at the top.
All we are is dust in the wind, dude. Dust, wind, dude.
It was awesome. Miles did over a 30-second delay, I think 32 seconds without even trying. We were all averaging about 28 seconds free fall off of there.
It was really overhung, so really safe cliff too. Did another wingsuit flight, and
Yeah, Felix.
I think every time when I step off a cliff from a wingsuit, it's getting better and better. You work out yourself, your program, you check out your body position, and the more you jump from a cliff with the wingsuit, the better results you get.
We did a nice four-way the other day with smoke and the whole thing.
Impersonating me. All that I see, absolute horror, walls flying up, ground coming to. Gotta pull now, or else I will eat my shoe.
This is a nice one. Really, really tall. One of the 4,000 footers. Those are good. My tracking style would be, I like to fly, and it's kind of like a Superman thing where I get on it, you know, my legs are together, and I have this position where I'm cupped out like this. And it seems to give me just an amazing push. When I exit, a lot of times I'll almost be going head down, which is kind of cool because you get to stare straight back at the wall. The first few seconds I'm just gaining speed because you're in this zone of no air right when you leave the cliff. And it doesn't matter what you do. You can go off there and do 10 flips, or you can get off and try and track really hard. Nothing's gonna happen for a few seconds. And I just like to, when I start getting that air, I'm already in my prime position and I'm gone.
If you see him, it looks like he's got a wingsuit on. He's coming past us at, 100 miles an hour ground speed. Just, it's crazy looking.
A lot of people, they'll track with their legs apart, arms out, and you're just spilling air. You're not using it as a wing. You can almost get your butt gets pulled up when you're in a position like this where you have this low pressure back here, and you lift off and you're gone. And it's nice.
Clearly, the trip would not be complete without bagging the Samford Fjord's most dominant feature, the polar sun spire. While denied earlier at the summit, an exit point just down the spire's shoulder would still yield a ridiculous 4,600 feet of falling glory.
It had been jumped before, so we had some information from some friends. You know, you look at the big wall and you can kind of tell exactly where you need to go, where the ledges are, the clean parts of the wall are overhung.
It was really spectacular, but it was definitely our most difficult feat as far as getting to the exit point. And it was a really dangerous area. It's the top of a big glacier, probably about a half mile down. If for some reason while walking to the exit point, if you were to fall, you would fall to your death.
We had to hike on the rope over a big field of ice, so it was pretty dangerous. It was the first time for me, and then probably for all these guys, to hike across this big ice field.
I think that these guys were more scared walking across this little ice sheet than they are jumping off these huge walls. It's amazing.
And then finally we get to the exit point, and we got to go down about 40 feet to this little ledge about this wide. And it was rad.
And we got out there, I set up a nice little anchor, and we fixed a rope, and we decided to rappel off the side so we could find a nice big, you know, a steep shot where you could jump off.
So we had to rappel down, and we didn't know what was below us, you know, and we were 4,000 feet up there, and it was cool. I don't do much climbing, a little bit, but just setting up a base jump, you know, with crampons and, you know, climbing gear is a whole nother aspect. It's just super fun.
Can't believe that. I'm totally overwhelmed.
The point where we had to detach from the rope, actually, to base jumpers usually is the point where you're feeling a little bit more comfortable because you're already at the exit point. You've looked over the edge. You're like, okay, this is cool. Then you can detach, and you're like, okay, I'm totally fine now. I was more scared on the rappel down than I was standing on the edge ready to go, because when you're standing on the edge ready to go, that's when you're just like, this is it. This is the coolest thing. This is what I live for, man. Here we go. Yeah!
Today that I loved you yet, man? Oh my god.
Holy Nikes. These cliffs are so tall, you know, Polar Sun is just huge that by the time you get to these ledges, you're skydiving. You're flying away from that wall. It's not even an issue, you know. We're passing the dog sled teams and the Kumatiks on the ground. I'm flying out, and I'm looking back between my legs. You know, I could turn around and fly back at the wall for 10 seconds and then pull. It was unbelievable.
Oh my god.
I'll give that a thumbs up.
That was a religious experience. That was just too much. That jump I would like to dedicate to Bob. Yeah. LBU for getting us all here. Bringing us to this most magical place. Yeah, Bob Unvert. Yeah!